Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Dirty and Driven Podcast. My name is James Deviney. I am your host. This is the show where we bring people to the blue-collar world, teach them how to kick ass. Our mission here is to gain, train, and retain solid, hard-working individuals in the blue-collar world. We're here for another Tuesday episode where we're going to waste part of your life. We're going to ramble on, tell some jokes, have some fun, and hopefully provide you with a little bit of value before we're done. I didn't even mean to rhyme that. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, the man who makes things happen, Mr. Casey D.
How are you?
What's going on, man?
Well, right before we hit the record button, I got the nervous jitters, got butterflies in my stomach. And I told James I had to go do a number 2 real quick. And how long was I in there for the number 2, if you had to time it?
I didn't have a stopwatch to it, but it wasn't an inconvenient amount of time.
90 seconds, maybe? Less than 2 minutes?
Sure.
That was with the hand washing too, right?
I hope so.
Well,
it is flu season.
And it made me think, do you have those people that you've been around, especially at work, to where they go into the restroom and they're obviously doing the number 2 and they're in there for 30 or 45 minutes on the clock?
Dude, I don't understand how people, like, I guess it's to go hide or whatever. I've never understood the whole, like, sitting on the toilet for 30 minutes.
For that long. So to my point, I don't go unless if it's ready to rock and roll. Now, granted, there's going to be, here goes me hedging, there's going to be those times that, you get one hung up, or, you know what I mean? It here comes another wave. But dude, I'm a less than 5 minute. I'm probably about a 2 minute averager.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I just don't feel like wasting my life on a toilet. Dude, okay, so you know how a couple weeks ago I was talking about, like, if you take 5 minutes every day to work on something, to do something, 5 minutes every day for 5 days a week, just a work week, right? Mm-hmm. Then that's like 20 hours a year that you've worked on this thing. So if you want to get better at guitar, you want to do work on some skill. Before the show, you were talking about how you're wanting to get better at soldering. If you took 5 minutes a day to work on that stuff, that's 20 hours a year that you're putting into that. It's a little bit, right? It's a little piece. But at the end of the year, you go, wow, that's a long time. If you do the same thing, if you take a shit for 10 minutes a day at work, right? At work, I think it's important to hedge at work. 10 minutes a day at work, then you've gotten a 40-hour paycheck for taking a shit that year.
Yeah.
1 full week to shitting.
I'm surprised employers haven't put like a stopwatch or a clock or something, or gotta have some jaws that close, on the toilet.
I don't know. I
have a countdown, like a 10-second timer that starts counting down when it's about time to get off.
And maybe it's because I'm not a parent, but like I said, I don't really understand that. Like, if I'm going to waste time or like go chill out, I'm going to do it not in the bathroom. Just like with stink clouds and again, maybe you got to be a parent or something to where like you just go in there to hide because no one's going to bother you in there. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe we don't want to know. That's the deal.
That could be.
So anyway, I get the butterflies, man. I get the butterflies before we hit that record button. And now I used to get butterflies all the time before we'd play our high school football games. Right, it was like clockwork. Right before we ran out onto the field, I would throw up, and I wouldn't like gag myself to throw up. It would just be the nervous, ready to rock and roll. And even if I didn't even eat much, I would throw up. And then by the time the ball was kicked off and you were playing, then all your nervous jitters were gone. But every Friday night.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of like that too, or used I don't know. The first time I do something, I get really nervous. It's like, ooh, you're real jittery. It's, dude, I don't, how's this going to go? But I feel like the more I do it, it kind of goes away from me.
Oh, yeah.
Like football, I would get that sometimes, but then it was kind of the same deal. It'd go away. And then you'd still get it. I would get it a little bit before games. Like whenever I played rugby the same way, like they wouldn't hit until I was on the field for kickoff. And then I'm like, mainly because I'm back to receive, and I'm like, I could get absolutely leveled right here. But, like for a rugby game, it's like, all right, we're out here. And then I would get them every game for kickoff, and then it'd go away. But, yeah, dude, but I never threw up. Or like stage before I go play. If like we're playing a bigger show, then it's like I'll get them. But if it's just like, we've played this bar before, I don't even get them anymore.
Yeah, and I think being nervous is a good thing because it means that you actually care, right? But then, obviously, I think the more you prepare for something, I've learned this with speaking in front of people. The more you're prepared on the topic and you know the topic in and out, the easier. I'll still get nervous, but I'll be less nervous because I know that I prepared, the best that I could compared to going out there just winging it.
Yeah, I can tell you. Yeah, and I agree with that, man. Like. So, I mean, I give my safety meetings every morning, every Monday morning, I should say. And I hate giving them. But I like speaking in front of people. I want to book more speaking engagements, stuff like that. And but it's like your home crowd kind of thing. It's just awkward, right? And whenever I actually take the time to really do it, not just like Google toolbox talk this week and go up there and read off a paper. Like if I do that, trash. And it's like I get nervous and I don't want to do it. But if I have like a good one, a good topic that I know is going to engage and get people interested, then I'm not nervous. And it's like, yeah, we'll go up there and we'll talk and hopefully I'll get some responses and we'll move on with our day.
Do you get good involvement with the ones that you're giving the speech to or the talk to, safety talk?
It depends on the week. I mean,
there's always those ones that don't want to be called on.
There's some guys, it depends on the week. And given a safety topic or safety meeting every week is hard. And some companies do it every day. I respect that depending on how they do it. Now, if you're a big company and you've got to have everybody on the same page, same plan every single day, then yeah, I get that. Where I'm working and what I'm doing, it's not, I don't want to say it's not necessary, but it's kind of like we'll say the plan for the week and that works. That suffices.
Right.
But it just depends. I mean, if it's something like that's a little more intricate of a job and it's like, all right, part of your safety talks, like, where are trucks going? How do they get there? Well, if it's kind of tricky, you want to make sure they know where they're going, and then you're usually going to get questions and responses because that's a practical question that directly affects them that week. But I don't know, man. Sometimes you say, anybody got any questions? You got anything you want to add? And, people, nope. And then sometimes there's topics where it's really relevant. Like the other day, it was like one about winter stuff. And it's like, you get done and then, the mechanics might chime in like, yeah, hey guys, we need to do this to the equipment. We need to make sure we're doing, draining these tanks or plugging these trucks in or blah, 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 and stuff like that. But if you just go up there and you give a speech about ladders or fire extinguishers or something, rarely are people chiming in being like, yeah, I got questions about your fire extinguisher.
Yeah, there's a good trick you can do if it's tough getting the crowd involved while you're talking. You can do this. You can take your hand and raise up, and you can go, "Hey, I want to see a show of hands. How many of you all?" And you raise your hand up. How many of y'all? Because I'm guilty. Of went outside and didn't do that, and it's almost second nature for people to kind of raise their hand. If you raise your hand up, they'll almost next thing you know, they're hopefully getting involved, and then now they're focusing on you.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, man. I mean, it's hard to give them every week, especially whenever it's like the same guy. I mean, it's good to rotate them sometimes, hearing a different voice here and there. I've even brought people in before. Like I brought in a highway patrolman before who did a whole deal on, what I'm looking for in a DOT inspection. And I mean, he was there for like an hour. So, I mean, you got to plan those. You can't just do that. But I mean, he went through a truck, did a full DOT inspection in the shop, and showed the truckers, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to know. This is what I want to see. If this is off, but this is good, then I'm do it. But this might be good, but this might be off, and that's a bad deal. And I'm going to take you off the road. Like, just very practical, just, really awesome. And stuff like that goes great. It's just, sometimes the day in, day out, it gets to be a drag. And that's where I've had to, I have to, because I'll go through periods where I'm like real motivated, like, yeah, giving good safety meetings. And then like, I go up there for several weeks in a row because I've got other things on my head and my mind. And this isn't good, but you got several other things on your head and mind that you're worried about. And you go up there and you give a safety meeting just to check the box.
Yeah.
And that's probably the worst thing you can do as a safety meeting person. I mean, because you always talk about complacency kills, but then you get complacent with your safety meetings, and it's tough. And I'm not a safety guy either. So sometimes there's stuff that it's talking about that I'm like, hey, this says to do this. Is it really that practical? I don't know. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, that's where it's good to establish a good safety culture, to where it's not just, here's the rules, here's OSHA, this is what they say, people die. But I mean, if you can go up there, especially like every now and then, you hate to see it, but somebody in your state dies and you go, hey guys, we think that this stuff can't happen to us, but here's a kid in Oklahoma City, for example, that just died from doing the work we do. And whenever you can talk about what happened and why that happened, that gets really good responses whenever you make it apply to their lives. Whereas, like I said, you just go up there and talk about ladders and they're like, yeah, dude, I mean, don't be stupid on a ladder. Like, got it. But if you go up there and you're like, hey, this guy died driving a truck or laying asphalt, or he hit a power line with his bed, or, slid off a cliff or trench collapse. Like, you talk about that stuff and you say, this is what happened. And, this is just down the road. You could drive to it today. And then people go, yeah, that's real.
Yeah. Anytime you can make a safety story personal, not so much hearsay is fine, but if it's a personal safety story that you witness or that you are a part of, it's more impactful.
Oh yeah. I mean, anytime you can bring the human aspect to it. Like, if you just go up there and you read off a paper and you drone on like a robot, nobody's going to listen. And they don't. And I've done that several times. And that's something that, like I said, recently I've just had that deal of like, man, because I like getting up in front of crowds and speaking. Now, I've always been the guy that I get really uncomfortable in front of the home crowd. You know what I mean? That's been for everything my whole life. Whenever I was 10 years old and learning guitar, I would not play guitar in front of my parents. I did not want to play in front. I would go play in front of, in my teens and stuff. And even now, like, I'll go play in front of hundreds of people. I don't care. I mean, that's fun. I love doing that. I love playing in front of a big crowd. But if my mom is like, hey, pull your guitar out and start playing, I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, my meemaw, my grandma, whenever I'd go visit her, she had an upright piano, and I was taking piano lessons, and that's back when I wanted to learn how to play Richard Marx' "Right Here Waiting for You" that I heard on the radio. I didn't want to learn Minuet in G minor, but that was the crap that I was learning. So anytime I'd go over there, my meemaw would always be like, first thing that she would do, besides hugging me and stuff, is she'd make me sit down at the piano and, bark like a dog. And dude, I just, on the spot, God, dude, I just, now if it's not on the spot, then yeah, dude, I'll do it all day long. But
yeah, well, like, I know that you'll be in here picking and stuff like that, and I don't mind doing that. But it's like, still yet, dude, I don't like just playing in front of people. Like, I don't like doing one of those things of like if I'm in a room full of 10 people that I hardly know, like, I'm not the kind of guy that if I see a guitar in the corner, I'm just gonna be like, oh, cool. I mean, I might, and if I'm bored and there's no qualms with it, I might go over there and pick a little bit. Now, I'm not gonna sit around the circle and sing for everybody, but yeah, dude. But like my mom would always be like, oh, play guitar for us, and I'd be like, no. I'd go up and I'd practice in my room and stuff like that. But what I was getting at is like I love speaking and I love getting up on stages to speak and stuff like that. But and I like an intimate conversation. Like, you know, you and I, or like if we have a guest in here, I can do that all day long, and I don't mind speaking even if it's to 10 people I don't know. But I don't know, there's just something about like the people you know that it's like a too cool for school type attitude. But if you can't, like I was listening to an old MFCEO podcast a couple weeks ago, and he's like, dude, he's like, all these motherfuckers out here, they want to be big name speakers, and he's like, they can't even speak to their own guys. They can't even go up and do that. And I'm always like, damn, dude, like that's me. Like I want to go and I want to speak, and I have spoke to other companies and at events and stuff like that. But it's like, and I do fine there, but I'm not really. I mean, then I looked at it and I said, man, I have every single Monday to hone my craft. And what worse time than a Monday morning when everybody's like hungover from the weekend, like they're not ready, you know, they don't want to be there. It's first thing, and it's the very first thing after they clock in, they got to sit through this safety meeting before they can get to work, and nobody wants to be there. What better and more challenging place to hone your craft of speaking and engaging a crowd than that?
Yeah, you got to get your reps in, man.
Yeah.
Just like I go back to my professional wrestling, dude. The indie circuit, the guys, they're not just going out, at WrestleMania in front of everybody, dude. They got to put in the hours of work at the small venues, in gymnasiums and the Moose Lodge and stuff before, they're ready for the big time.
Oh yeah, dude. It's anything. If you want to be great at anything, it comes down to repetition. I mean, if you want to be jacked, it just comes down to reps. If you want to be an ultra runner or something, it comes down to reps. Just how often do you run? How many steps have you taken? If you want to take, yourself to new heights at work, it just takes reps. You want to be a good operator. You're not just going to hop in a track hoe and automatically be the best freaking track hoe operator that ever lived. But it takes reps, and everybody's first time comes at some point.
Yeah, I saw a deal this morning. Your buddy Goggins, your friend that you call Goggins.
Oh, old Dave.
Yeah, old Dave. Not Dave from Wendy's either. David Goggins. He posted this deal. He's been training Tony Ferguson. He's a UFC fighter. Tony was on pace to be the champion, but he stumbled a few times. Well, Tony reached out to David Goggins, for a different way of getting his mind right and training. And David Goggins went through this big deal. They were doing 2 miles of lunges. 2 miles of lunges nonstop. 2 miles. And while Goggins is doing his inspirational deal, and Tony's kind of just right behind him, you can tell Tony's hurting, but he's still hanging in there. One of the things that David Goggins said was pretty much normal exercises or normal routines get normal results. So his point was, if you want to be exceptional at something, you got to do the exceptional hard routines to get the better results. If you're just doing the normal shit over, then you're probably going to get normal results. So set your standard higher.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, set big goals. I mean, stuff like that. You've got to do the stuff. Like, you talk to the guys that are on the show. We've had a lot of young guys that are pretty big in the construction industry. And by big, I mean like, I don't mean social media big or famous, but they've achieved a lot in a small amount of time. They've got very prominent roles in a small amount of time. And like what some of them say is like, dude, I learned because they said, oh, on the weekends or after work, if you want seat time, that's when you get it. When we're not actually working, but if you want to come in here and just dig around in the piles in the yard, that's when you need to do it. After work, whenever you can take the time and learn. And that's what these guys would do to do that. Well, now people don't want to do that. They want to be trained. And I agree, you should be training them. But whenever you have that kind of mindset of, dude, I want that to be my job. You get out there and you do whatever it takes to do that. And if you just say eventually I want to do that and I want them to train me, sure. You can do that, and it'll probably happen for you as people retire, quit, or they need somebody and you step up to the line of fire. Or you sit there and you say, hey boss, I've been digging around after work and I'm feeling pretty confident in this machine actually. That's gonna move you along. Or if you are a young guy and you're starting a business and you want to be the best business around, but all you've got right now is a track hoe and a truck, man, great. You have to put in that extra work to make it happen. And if you just wait for it, and even if you work and you wait for it, it's not going to come unless you really accelerate the process and do things above and beyond what anybody else is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about safety a second ago and trench boxes and stuff, and this is on topic, but it's a personal deal yesterday. I about needed a trench box, a few of them yesterday at my house. Reason being, this cold weather was moving in, and we have an African sulcata turtle. I don't know if you ever seen him, Osiris.
Yeah, I've seen him. I keep meaning to ask you about that on the podcast because that's a big turtle.
Yeah, he's a big bastard. He'll outlive us.
Where did you get that turtle?
We got him from our son.
Why did your son have that big of a turtle?
Great question. We're kind of, when at times when pets don't work out with family, we've got land, we've got, places to take care of them. And it's a cool turtle. I'm at low maintenance.
Yeah, the thing's massive. Like if you want to see Casey's turtle, I don't know. Do you have a picture of him?
Well, while we're talking, I can look it up.
Bring him up because I want to show the people your turtle. But follow Casey on Instagram, KCD369. It's more of a meme page, but but you can also see his turtle and his pig.
Yeah, I'll find it here.
And his hog, if you're lucky.
Yeah. So with the cold weather coming up, these sulcata turtles are, they're originally from Africa, meaning the climate and this and that. They don't like the cold. You have to get them out of the cold.
You're pretty diverse in your house.
Plenty diverse, right?
Yeah. You got an African American turtle.
Yeah, and but what they do during the summertime to get out of the extreme heat, they will burrow deep down into the ground. And I've caught him a few times. He has 3 different spots on the property to where he'll dig down. We have sandy loam, so it's pretty easy digging. And dude, if you come up behind him when he's digging a hole, he hauls ass digging because those big old claws or whatever he's throwing sand. It's a hauling ass. Well, we knew the main den, or I guess that's what you call it, to where he goes and stays. They'll dig way down deep, and normally like 6 foot or so, 6 or 8 foot down are the normal ones, to where they'll dig down in there to get out of the extreme heat because you've got probably 60 some degree temperatures down there in their burrow, in their little hole. Well, we knew where it was, and right now it's about 20 degrees outside here in Ponca. I talked to my wife. I was like, dude, we got to get him inside because during the winter they'll pretty much just be hanging out and not doing much at all, not eat. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
That's him eating his greens. So right there that you're looking at.
One of these days I'm going to set us up with an actual screen or whatever, but
my Malinois, my golden doodle in the back. Well, they don't really drink any water. They get their water from eating grass or leafy things. That's pretty much all the water that they need.
Really?
Oh yeah. So since it's cold out, they're not supposed to be outside. You're supposed to keep them in somewhat of a climate controlled area. So I told my wife yesterday, I said, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to dig him up because I know where his hole is, his den is. And so I went out there and I took my wheelbarrow with him because once I get him out, I'm going to put him in the wheelbarrow and wheelbarrow him down to my shop because my shop has, it's heated down there. I start digging in this hole and I dig and I dig and I dig and the hole keeps going down and it's not only going kind of, not at a 45. It's less than a 45, but it's not only going down, but then it turns and it goes. Dude, after about 45 minutes of pretty easy hand dig, and I mean, some of the sand was easy to dig, but then it gets down to a hard layer of sand, like a really good hard layer. Dude, this thing was I probably dug 12 horizontal feet, 5 feet down, probably about 2 foot wide. And I finally gave up because the shovel that I had was about a 5 foot long shovel. And I was almost 5 foot down, and I'm reaching my shovel down because he's somewhere on past. I stuck the whole shovel handle all the way into where I could reach, and it opens up down here somewhere even farther down there. And I said to hell with it, dude, because I almost needed like a backhoe or something. And I was thinking about going to get my probe rod, like you can probe for pipes and stuff. And I wanted to kind of start maybe probe and see if I could hit his shell to find out exactly where he was. I said to hell with it, dude. I ended up taking sand and I threw it back in there. And because it got cold tonight, I don't want him to freeze to death, right? Now I screwed up his perfect, climate controlled area digging this shit out. Well, I piled it back in, and I went in and told my wife, I was like, dude, it went so far down. I'll show you a picture. I go, man, it went so far down.
Yeah, dude, pull a picture of that up. I'm curious to see this turtle layer.
Yeah, it went so far down that I ain't got time to do this right now. There's no telling how far back it goes because it's such and what gets me too is not only how far back it goes, this was at least 12 feet, just like linear feet down, but he has to get that sand out. It's not like, while he's digging, he could push the sand over here. The sand has to come out on top of the soil, the surface. So he's taking all of that sand from way the hell down there and moving it all the way back up there. It's insane. So yeah.
Do you not have just a big pile of sand right there?
No. And there is, but I didn't know that it was that much of sand, because when he's digging, he's only digging, about 12 inches high, just enough for him to clear and, yay wide, maybe 2 foot wide at best. But yeah.
Damn, dude. I didn't know turtles did that. I mean, I knew they dig a little bit, but.
Here. So here, it's tough to tell, but you can see right where my feet are.
Yeah, here yeah.
So down in that dark spot is the blue handle. So now I'm going down in the ditch.
So he's way in there.
Now look, that shovel is all the way in the hole there.
Whoa.
It opens up and it keeps going back there. I don't know how far back it goes.
So you've just got, this is like worse than gophers. Motherfucker.
I'm breathing hard, dude, because
your dogs are like, well, I got in trouble for digging. This motherfucker can just go out here and do this shit.
Oh yeah. So they got into. So anyway, I go in and tell my wife. I said, hey, I end up giving up on it, but I piled a bunch of sand back in there to keep him warm for tonight. And she's like, did you not leave an opening for air for him?
Well, that's what I was about to ask. Is
yeah, and I didn't think about it. I was like, fuck.
You're like, I just buried him alive.
Yeah, because I had already stripped down. You know what I mean? Because my pants were all sandy and dirty. I got sand in my shoes and my socks. So I was stripped down to my underwear because I was getting ready to go shower. I was like, fuck. So I put my clothes back on, went back out there, and then I ended up, making a nice little hole for him to at least have, have some air. But
dude, that's wild.
Yeah, so I needed.
How long have you had that turtle?
We've had him for a good year and a half or so, 2 years.
Oh, okay. So the first time you came on the show, I didn't know you had him. I knew you had the pig.
Yeah.
Of course, you and I weren't really like buddies back then, but
it is right at about a year because when we initially got him, it was during this time of year. It was super cold out, and we kept him inside of our mudroom because that's all we had set up for somewhat of a climate controlled area. And while he was in there, we didn't have it super warm in there, so he was sedentary, man. He would barely move, unless if you tapped him on the head or whatever, then his legs would go in, But dude, when it warms up and stuff, that's when those guys get active.
That's a wild pet to have. I love turtles, dude. I mean, like
Low maintenance, dude. Best thing.
Really? Huh.
Same as the pig.
I love turtles. That's probably gonna be the next. I don't know if it'll be the next tattoo I get or not, but turtles have always been one of my favorite.
Where's it at?
That's a dragon, not a turtle. Oh, what is that? Oh, is that a guy holding a turtle?
Yeah, that's my dad.
Is that your dad?
That's my dad in his coveralls, holding a knife to a snapping turtle's head.
Oh yeah.
My dad was known as the Turtle Man.
Yeah, I remember. I think you told that story on the show before.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, dude. I've always loved turtles because you know me. I scuba dive a lot. That's kind of one of my favorite things to do, and I've always loved turtles, dude. They're just so cool of a creature, and like whenever I was a little kid, I remember we went to Mexico. Whenever I was probably like 7. And the turtle came up and laid eggs on the beach, and like we watched it do it. I mean, it was just freaking insane. It's just turtles are cool, man, and they live forever. I mean, they get to be so old, and like you see a turtle, and you go, man, that thing's been alive for
hundreds,
maybe 300, 400
yeah.
years. I mean, you know, you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell has this turtle seen? I mean, this turtle's been laying eggs on this beach. You know, now it's an XXX rated strip bar, and I mean, what was it like 300 years ago? You know,
yeah.
That's why. Yeah, I love turtles, dude. I need to come out and see Osiris one of these days.
Yeah, I still need to dig him up, but man, it literally is getting down into, unless if I do the proper sloping, like all the guys would say, you know, or get the trench boxes in. I'm getting down there, getting down deep.
So what you're saying is turtles need trench boxes.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I mean, who knows if they have a cave in and if they don't know right from forward and up from back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, and like, yeah, if they had a cave in, they also wouldn't be able to dig themselves out because there's nowhere for that stuff to go.
Yeah.
They're just digging, but interesting. I never knew turtles needed trench boxes. Now, the more you know. Oh, but it is. I mean, it snowed last night. That's wild, dude. I mean, it's getting chilly.
It snowed and iced up. We had issues out at the refinery. The refinery has a ton of steam lines out there, steam trace lines, and they'll have to put steam on stuff to thaw things out. And a lot of times, what we'll have to do issues that we deal with is we'll have valves that freeze up. So the legit way to do it, the safety protocol way, is to strap heat blankets on the valves and hopefully thaw them out because that grease in there freezes up, especially if water gets inside of the grease in those valves, especially if they're manual operated. They can't turn. Even if they're motor operated, those motor operators only have so much torque to turn the valves. And if it's real frozen grease to where the gears can't turn, you know what I mean? Because there might be a little bit of moisture in there. You can't turn them. So we have to put heat blankets on them. But the best and quickest way to thaw those things out, which safety doesn't like this, is to hook up hoses off of your exhaust on your vehicle.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, yeah. Because you have that hot exhaust and you do that. But they're anti that. Kind of because pulling vehicles up close and then, you know, the static electricity that gets close to maybe a combustible, you know, and you got all these little factors that go in.
A lot of little things that could probably go wrong.
But yeah, that's the main thing that we deal with is valves freezing up and stuff.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, that place is steaming like nobody's business over there.
Yeah, and that's steam.
I mean, we can see it from our studio. It's steamy.
Everybody, that's steam. That's not smoke or bad emissions. That's steam. All that is water vapor. Yeah. That's all that is water vapor. There's zero pollutants going into the air there. All it is water vapor.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy how much I've learned about refineries just from, like, since you and I have been friends, and then, like, Victoria as well. I mean, Victoria's, you know, a little more on the left of center side of things, you know what I mean? But she's like, you know, she'll be talking about refineries and stuff like that, and anytime you even utter the words of, like, that seems like it could be kind of dangerous, she's like, no, you know, it's just, and then she goes into the whole nerd science of it all, and I can't follow those conversations. I don't understand anything to do with that world. But
well, talking about, you know, safety protocols and stuff, unfortunately, there's been a lot of accidents and a lot of people that have been killed but the learning experiences from it is certain safety standards, like policies and procedures put in place due to the unfortunate things happen where people lose their lives, and then they investigate and they see what was the contributing factor, and then they make a policy now to where future wise you do this instead of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as you can. I mean, you never want somebody to die or get really hurt, but I mean, obviously, it takes that stuff. We keep going back to safety, which is interesting.
That's kind of where we started. So
yeah, I mean, it's just interesting that's kind of where we've taken the show. Yeah, dude. I mean, you never want anybody to die, but it's like you learn from that, and everybody. You see the videos online all the time of like the 70s and 80s. These guys, especially like New York iron workers, dude. You see those videos all the time. These guys up on top of skyscrapers. I'm literally getting butterflies thinking about being up there without a harness on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not scared of heights, but I do get goosey up on heights, like ropes courses or crap like that. Not that I've done a ropes course in a long time, but you get up there and you just think like, dang, dude, that's a long way down. And like, I'm the kind of guy that anymore I've just had to put it in my head that like if I'm going to do something up high, I have to just know that, hey, I've got all the necessary safety equipment. If it does its job like it's supposed to, I'm good. And that's always my thought and fear, or that's how I mentally get myself to step out if I'm in a situation of heights or like a tall man lift or something like that. It's just, all right, I'm clipped in, everything's working good. I just have to trust the safety stuff. Because if you wig out, it's no bueno. But man, whenever you get up on top of that, like you see the videos of those guys and you say, these guys were bad motherfuckers. We're so fucking soft. And, this generation sucks. Now they want to have all this, safety stuff and hard hats and all that. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I like watching those videos. I like seeing how badass and fearless those men at that time were. But also, those are just a few clips of the ones that got out of there. That wasn't, it's not showing the guys falling to their death. It's not showing how many guys were hurt, broke their backs or something because they fell or because they did something stupid that they shouldn't have. Like, safety was not the forethought back then, or you were just extremely careful, like balancing and doing stuff. But it's amazing how many people had to die or get hurt in order for these protocols to be in place. And they can be a pain in the ass. But there's a reason they're there too.
Yeah. And to tie in with what you said earlier about, being nervous on stage or being nervous about this or that. I used to work at height, not super height like that, but framing up 2-story houses and stuff. And if I were to climb on one of those right now, especially like a rough skeleton framed house with no decking on it or anything, and I was up higher than normal, not tied off, I'd probably get the old rubber legs because I haven't done it forever. But these guys that you're talking about that have the videos that are super high up, changing a light bulb on one of them antennas or them skyscrapers, they're used to it. They've day in, day out, slowly worked their way up to where that's just second nature doing that stuff, man. But dude, one thing that gives me the EBGBs is being in a man lift, like you said. If you've ever been in a decently tall man lift that booms way out,
oh yeah,
and you're 100 and some feet up in the air, not only are you up there, and I don't see how those man lifts don't just fucking tip over. I just don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't.
Yeah.
But you're extended out, and if you do the old if you toggle or if you slowly do the old left on the old joystick or right,
oh, dude,
that barely twitch of a hairline movement, dude, you'll be like, and you don't have anything to hold on to, dude. You talking about the old pucker factor?
Was that the brown note?
Yeah. Why'd you shit yourself? Dog outside started shitting.
Yeah. Dude, man lifts can be scary. No, we rented like one of the really big ones one time. I'm sure you guys probably have them all over the place out there, but we had to do some work at the top of our asphalt plant. and it was like it was outside the railing of. I mean, you can walk up top. There's stairs, and it was outside the railing, so you couldn't just bend over and do one.
Right.
Of those. And so we had to replace a part, and so we had to rent one of those real big man lifts to do that. And and people were fucking with me. They're like, you want to be the one in the man lift? You want to? I'm like, yeah, like I don't really care, but it's like still, dude, being up there, and it's just like, you're like, this is not fun.
Dude, I worked in the refinery back in '99. I remember that, and they needed a man lift moved really a couple blocks inside the refinery, and I was man lift certified, had my little deal, and said, yeah, dude, I'll move it. So I had to drive it. So you can get, you can physically get in it, and you can drive it from, the bucket part of it, right? So I get in the man lift. And unfortunately, hindsight 2020, I had it boomed out a little bit. I had it boomed out probably 8 or 10 foot instead of it being all the way retracted in to drive it and all the way down. I had it boomed out a little bit and elevated a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Now, you'll find out here in a sec why that's a no-no. So I'm driving it and I'm rocking and rolling. I have it in the rabbit mode, not in the turtle mode. I should have had it in the rabbit mode. And I turn left and I'm going. Well, the spot to where I'm going to go park it in this like little parking lot inside of the refinery, it's a right turn to get into the parking lot, and it was downgrade. It wasn't like a flat turn to the right. It was one of those deals I had to go down like a little ramp and then go to the flat platform, right? So I'm still going kind of at a decent clip like I'm driving. Well, I turn right to get down into this parking lot. Well, when I do, keep in mind that I'm not retracted all the way in. I'm extended out a little bit and up. So when I turn right, it goes down. It takes me up. And the momentum and stuff was so much that the thing when I turned right, the man lift went up on it. It was only on its two wheels. The left wheels were up in the air. Dude, and luckily, once it hit that flatter part, it boom went down. But dude, I about tilted that bitch over, and then the old hindsight, dude, you fucking idiot! You should have retracted her all the way back in, went down, put it in turtle mode, done it right. But you're talking about a near miss, close call.
Well, it's just like whenever you're doing something on a ladder and you reach a little, right? You're like, fuck, I don't
should I move it or should I?
I don't want to get down. I don't want to move. I'm almost done, And yeah. No, dude. I wish Victoria was here. She's got a good man lift story, and I don't know if she's ever told it on the show or not, but she, at her old job in New Orleans, there was one time she had to go up in a man lift, and she was real goosey about it. She doesn't really like that kind of stuff, and she didn't like how jittery it was. Well, she had to get up there pretty high, and I don't remember what the deal was. Like, I don't think that she was certified to run it, and she had to have the certification. So she had to get somebody else with her.
Right.
And she's like, please just, go slow. Don't, jerk it around. Don't do all, so they're like, oh yeah, whatever. So they wait till she's at the very top. And I don't know if they were in the bucket with her. I don't think they were. I think they were down below operating it. And that was how they got away with it. And, they're like, oh no, I'm not gonna do anything, and they wait till she gets all the way up there, gets her up there nice and good, and then he starts like messing with the joysticks and shaking it and just fucking with her.
Dude,
she was freaking out.
Dude, yeah, man.
But it was pretty funny when she told me that story, because it was somebody who is like that. But yeah, man lifts are funny. I was about to transition to something. I don't even remember what it was now.
Let's take a break for a sec.
You can take a break?
Yeah, let me go. I gotta go piss.
Okay.
And then if you want, because I wanted to tell that trailer story.
And we're back after a quick little potty break. The speed of a racehorse.
Yes.
And the grace of a gazelle.
Dude, I got a buddy of mine, Debo. I know you've heard me talk about him before.
Debo!
That fucker's got an elephant bladder, dude. Elephant bladder.
Is that good? Is that like big?
When it comes time for him to piss, dude, You can literally go make a sandwich or 2 or 3 and go let the dogs out and check, this and that, come back and he's still pissing.
Oh, dude, that's how I am.
Damn, son.
I drink over a gallon of water a day, and I bet I only piss like 3 times a day.
Well, the signs say, which I don't know if scientists are right, but if you have the urge to pee, especially the older you get, you need to pee. You don't want to hold that because it'll lead to prostate cancer. It's bad for your prostate. Yeah,
you don't want to hold it in. I mean, I don't hold it in unless I'm like driving or something, and I'm like, dude, you've been on the road for 4 hours. You're like, oh, I'm only 30 minutes away. I really don't want to stop, that kind of thing. But I probably pee more than 3 times a day, but, it's not much for how much water. And I mean, because I always drink a big cup of coffee like I got here, and then I drink over a gallon of water too. And sometimes I'll drink more. So, I don't know.
You ever heard of breaking the seal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's usually when you're about four or 5 beers deep. You haven't pissed yet. But boy, once you break the seal, it's every beer after that.
People always say that, but like, they're like, oh, drinking makes you pee a lot. And I know somebody that had kidney stones too. And they literally had a urologist tell them this. They were like, oh yeah, if you feel a kidney stone coming on, just go buy you a 6-pack of beer. And they tried it. I was like, dude, that's some whack ass advice. Yeah. And the doctor's like, well, it'll just make you pee. And I was like, if you drink that many fluid ounces of water, it's gonna make you pee. It's not the alcohol that's making you pee so much. It's the fluid.
Yeah, it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens to be when you're drinking 5 or 6 drinks in a row, whereas you don't normally do that.
It's pressure. I mean, you get so much pressure in your system. It's got to go somewhere.
And by the way, they went to a different urologist because they moved, and they were like, and that urologist said, man, I wish your urologist in your other town was my doctor because that sounds way more fun than the advice I'd give you for kidney stones.
That's funny you're talking about kidney stones because I just watched it and listened to Jim Brewer's new special. You ever listen to Jim Brewer?
I've not.
He was like the goat boy on Saturday Night Live.
I remember him. I mean,
he's amazing, dude. He's got the same views like a lot of common sense Americans should have on a lot of things that are going on today. Well,
so he's a fucking Nazi.
Opposite, yeah. Not what the mainstream would make you to believe. But in his special, you've got to see his special. It's called A Country Boy Will Survive. He just released it. Anyway, I watched it, and he was talking about kidney stones on it. And he was like, I've heard from people that kidney stones, are almost as bad as, a woman being pregnant, or 10 times worse than a woman being pregnant. And I had the super duper bad pain. And next thing you know, I thought I had a UTI, urinary tract infection. Mm-hmm. So he goes, I could hear my wife and them, and they'd always talk about, oh, you got to drink cranberry juice. Don't drink the Ocean Splash or whatever, because that's got the additives. Drink this. So I started chugging cranberry juice because, I've got he thought he had a UTI initially. That's what it was.
Right.
Because his body was hurting. So, that's the deal. Because he would try to pee and nothing would come out. Nothing would come out when he would try to pee. That was the initial deal. So he thought he had a UTI. So he started drinking all this cranberry juice. And he said, next thing you know, I'm starting to pee and it's red. I'm like, yes, dude, this cranberry juice is getting through my system. This is amazing. And he says, shortly after that, there starts a little bit of chunks start to come out, with the red that I'm peeing. I'm like, that's weird because cranberry juice, I didn't think it had pulp or anything in it, but at least it's coming out. Well, I talked to my wife a little bit later about, I think I had a UTI, babe. And his wife was like, babe, men can't get UTIs, urinary tract, and it's pretty much a woman deal. And he goes, well, I was peeing. I drank a bunch of cranberry juice, like you said you've done before. I was peeing red, then chunks are coming out. She's like, babe, you didn't have that. You probably had a fucking kidney stone. So sure enough, he went to the doctor, and the doctor's like breaking it down. He goes, now what happened? He goes, well, drank a bunch of cranberry juice. I was peeing red. It was Doctor's like, no, dude, you were fucking pissing blood and you were passing kidney stones was the problem.
Yeah. Jeez. I haven't passed kidney stones, but I had something at one point that was similar, and it was absolutely horrendous. And yeah, peeing blood and all that. If you ever start peeing blood, that's a painful son of a bitch right there. Yeah, it ain't worth it. That's all I'm gonna say on that topic.
Yeah, you said kidney stones, man. That was fresh in my mind. Jim Brewer, country boy, will survive.
Yeah, I've got a story, not about me, but about kidney stones. I'll tell you off the air. You had a trailer story you wanted to tell. Let's hear this trailer story.
All right. Well, back when my old man was around, R.I.P., he had a pontoon boat and his little 60 horsepower force motor that came with the pontoon boat.
Wait, did they have pontoon boats before the song came out?
Country Boy Can't Survive?
No, on the pontoon.
Oh, on the pontoon? Oh, yeah, dude. That's why they wrote the song.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you get on a pontoon boat without listening to the song?
Was that a requirement to?
Yeah, I mean, is that not? I mean, I just don't get how they did it back in the day.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, had a pontoon boat. He had a 60 horsepower force motor on it.
I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. I gotta apologize for that. I apologize to all the listeners for that moment. All right, carry on.
And he ended up buying a new motor. It was a 60 horsepower Mercury Bigfoot motor. This motor was called Bigfoot, and my dad's nickname was Bigfoot. Although he was a turtle man, his nickname was Bigfoot because he had big ass feet. He was 6'4". Well, so this Bigfoot Mercury motor was in Broken Arrow at the Bass Pro Shop. So Broken Arrow is probably an hour and 45 minutes away from Ponca City. So what we did was we had to hook onto his boat and drive down to Broken Arrow, drop the boat off at Bass Pro Shop. They were going to swap out the old force motor and put on this brand new, it was a bigger, heavier, but it was still a 60 horsepower brand new Mercury Bigfoot motor. Came time to go pick it up. My old man and I drove down. He was drinking his Coors Light at, 8 a.m. in the morning. Retired. He could do whatever the hell he wanted. I didn't tell him, what to do. We pick up the boat, hook it on the old hitch and start driving back. And this day, it's kind of a day like this where it's super cold out, but the wind was out of the northwest, probably 30, 35 mile per hour winds, almost just regular winds, no gusts. I mean, the wind was blowing pretty good. We're driving back from Bass Pro Shop. We go through Tulsa, then we go through Sand Springs. Now we're on 412, and now we're getting ready to go across that overpass that goes across Keystone Lake. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So whenever we start to go across Keystone Lake, I'm driving and I'm keeping an eye on the boat in the back, in my rear view mirror. And I noticed that while I'm driving, we kind of hit that stiff wind that's blowing. We're driving straight into that northwest wind when we're crossing it. I noticed that the boat in the rear view is starting to kind of do like one of these deals. Like, I'm kind of, each bump that I hit, the boat is kind of going up and down, progressively worse with the trailer. So I slow down from going like 65 to about 60 to 55 because I'm driving into a wind with a big old piece of plywood on the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it gets progressively worse to where I'm down to about 50 miles an hour, and halfway across this overpass, when I'm driving, I look in my rear view again, and I notice that the boat goes off the trailer, and I lose it in my rear view. It comes completely off the trailer onto the highway behind us.
The whole fucking boat?
The whole boat is gone. It's gone. So I'm like, shit. And I'm on the inside lane by the concrete median, and I end up slowing down all the way to a stop. And my old man doesn't know what the hell's going on because I didn't tell him because it was a last second, oh shit moment. And my old man's like, he's like, son, he goes, what in the hell are you doing? I go, Dad, we just lost the fucking boat. And he goes, what? And he turned around and looked, and he had something in his fucking overalls, and he threw it across the dash. He's like, God damn it. He gets all, and he's being all pissy, throwing a fit. And here I am worried about a car behind us running into the boat. There's a lot of shit going through my mind that I'm trying to, figure out what the fuck. I mean, what do? You don't practice for this situation, right?
Yeah, you've got to think fast.
Yeah. So I'm pulled over on the inside by the median, and that's where the boat came off. Well, I go back and look, and the boat is pretty much like you just put it into it had pretty much slid right off, and it was just kind of butted up against the median. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, nobody got in a wreck behind us. So now I'm thinking, fuck, the boat is off the trail. How are we going to get this thing? What do we do now? Well, within like 3 or 4 minutes, a highway patrolman pulls up. And when he pulls up, it's a guy that I used to work out with here in town at the gym. His name is Malcolm Deming.
Dude, Malcolm?
Yeah, you know Malcolm?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You know, the DOT officer I was talking about earlier, that was him I was
Yeah,
talking about.
Malcolm's a great dude.
Oh, yeah. He's
Awesome.
He's one of my best friend's dads.
Yeah.
Malcolm's a solid dude.
Yeah, so Malcolm pulls up and I go, oh, shit, what's up, Malcolm? He goes, hey, Casey, what's going on? I go, fucking lost the fucking trailer, dude. Why don't... And he goes, all right. He goes, I went ahead and I called the tow company. They're right here at Bears Glen, which Bears Glen is a road just on the other side of the lake. I called them. You know, they got one of them tilt beds that tilt down. They're on their way right now. I go, fuck. I go, dude. Okay. I mean, I guess I fucked. I mean, what ticket do I get? You know, he goes, well, was anybody hurt in it? And I go, no. He goes, well, any property damage besides your boat? I go, no. He goes, nah, man, it's not a ticket. Let's just get this thing on your trailer and get you out of here. Make sure no cars. So I was like, okay, cool. So by the time that boat came off the trailer, the tow truck was there within 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He backed up to it. He winched it up onto the trailer, kind of like, you know, he was loading it front onto his trailer. We followed him about a half mile to their deal. Within about an hour after we lost it off the trailer, we had that thing strapped down on my trailer and we were driving down the highway again within an hour of it being off.
Nice.
So
did it total the boat?
No, it just messed up the aluminum pontoons. They had road rash on the bottom of the pontoons. It was a brand new motor, right? But whenever it came off, that motor, literally the keel or the skeg of it, it was just basically like you had trimmed it up, like with the power tilt. It just did one of these. So it just barely scuffed up the skeg on the front of it. So anyway, we're going home. Why? How the fuck did it come off the trailer? Right? Mm-hmm. I'm getting to a point here. How did it come off the trailer? Well, hindsight is more than 20/20 on this deal, and I learned a very valuable lesson on how you're responsible for your load, especially when you're trailering something. Mm-hmm. This boat, we had pretty much just taken it to Ponca Lake or Call Lake. That was only like 5 or 10 minutes from my dad's house. And over the years, it used to have an eye hook underneath it that was on a good, pretty much like a framing joist of the deck that we had hook into with the main ratchet strap that we had strap it on. We would always just hook it up to that. That was the only way we would haul it to the lake. Well, anybody that knows anything about boats, you not only strap it like with that, but you also have a safety chain too that you would safety chain just in case if the strap ever broke, you would safety chain that into something good like that eye hook also. Then also you would have tie downs where you do tie downs on the back of the boat,
right? To
where you'd strap the back of the boat down. We had none of that. The only thing that we had on this boat was our ratchet strap, you know, that was on the old crank.
Just the old crank strap, yeah.
And the kicker was the eye hook had been gone forever because it had busted off. So we were pretty much hooking the hook of the strap underneath the front of this aluminum like trim piece of the boat, and we would hook it just almost there. Well, there's a front trim piece that we had hooked in the past that it was ripped out a little bit. It was a ripped out piece of aluminum. So the only thing holding that boat from whenever we left Broken Arrow and came back was our little hook of our ratchet strap hooked up to this little piece right here. Well, when it's hooked up and we were driving back and we were hitting the wind and the boat was doing this, it was hooked here, but the boat was doing this like this. Check this out. It was doing like a sawing motion, and it pretty much sawed through that strap. And the strap was the only thing, this piece of shit strap was the only thing holding the whole boat. We had no safety chains, no tie-down straps in the back, nothing. It was the biggest idiotic people pulling a boat down the road ever.
It was just the most like, well, there's old Bubba and his dad out there pulling a boat.
No, it was dumb as fuck. We were very fortunate that nobody got hurt. Mm-hmm. None of that shit. With that whole story, with that being said, ever since then, it really drove home to me. I learned a valuable lesson about, dude, especially if you're the one pulling it or if you're going with somebody. not only make sure your load is strapped down correctly, but normally things are going to happen within the first 5 or 10 minutes if you drive in inclement weather or something bad. Pull over because loads shift at times. Pull over, check your load again, check to make sure that all the straps are still tight and everything is still snug and good. If not, you're going to be losing your boat on 412 coming back from Broken Arrow.
That's one thing I was really grateful for is my first job. We really learned that because we'd take a lot of stuff to the landfill, and the landfill is really picky about if like if it's limbs and shit like that or just trash. Like if you don't have straps or tarps on your load, they charge you double.
Yep.
So my boss was super picky about the way things were strapped or tied down because it was funny. His dad was actually the superintendent of the landfill, so he probably could have, gotten away with it here and there, but he didn't get any discounts and he didn't know half the people who worked there. So, they didn't know who he was. So, but he was real picky about that. So thankfully that was driven home to me before I ever even had a driver's license was, hey, you've got to strap this stuff down. Also, I hauled a lot of hay whenever I was 14, 15 years old. And if you know anything about hauling hay, if you don't strap that down just right, especially if you're stacking it way higher than you should, then it's going to fall in the ditch whenever you make that first right turn.
Yeah, you've seen hay loads. I know a lot of people have where it's in the ditch or people have lost it on the highway.
Well, I've done it, like not on the highway, but it'd be on county roads and stuff.
Right.
We'd be going from the hay field, which is like 2 miles from the barn, and we'd load up, and there'd be times, and it'd be late at night. You'd try to stack it. Like the trailer we were using, you could get it 4 high with 2 square bales on top to kind of hold everything together. And there was every now and then we'd get a little adventurous and try and go 5 high. And then there was one time we did just the 4 high with if we were going a long ways, we'd do 3 high with 2 on top in a row. But we did 4 high with the 2 on top going to the barn, and I don't know what the deal was, if it was like we forgot enough straps or what, but we were doing it, and man, we turned out of the field, and it's kind of a rough, you're just going through the ditch to get out of the field.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a rough deal, and then like that probably knocked it loose, and then my buddy who was driving, he makes that first right or left turn, whichever way he was going, and I mean, you just see it in the rear view, half that stack fall into the ditch, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And you got to go and clean it up. And it's, it's midnight, probably the last load of the night for all I remember. And you're just like, God dang, dude, I just want to go home. Getting paid by the bale, not by the hour. If we were even getting paid at all, we may have just been slave labor. I don't remember. But yeah, it was strapping that stuff down is important.
Yeah, there's something manly about hauling hay, dude. I did it once or twice, like super duper doing it. This guy that played football with, he was a year older than me. He was a hoss, man, but he worked on the farm, and that's a lot of things that he would do would be hauling hay. And he asked us, hey, man, do y'all want some extra money? Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. So I was in great shape, but I was not in hay hauling shape. And we went out there, and, there's a technique with using your body and using your thigh and being able to throw, and I'm just using everything as a good momentum instead of just trying to hoss shit.
Yeah.
And, dude, shortly after we got started, dude, I was fucking cramping, hurting, body hate, and we were just getting it loaded on the trailer. We were doing this stuff to where we were just putting it on this little conveyor deal or something, and he was catching it, walking, stacking. He was doing all the work, and I was doing the pussy work. Well, then we get into the barn where there's no air movement whatsoever, and we're putting it back, 100 foot back in the corner, and we're still doing the easy work where all we're doing is putting it on this conveyor deal that's going to shoot it to him to where he has to go an extra 50 foot back, and he's doing all, and dude, my forearms cramping, then my back, my lat, and this, and I need break, and I'm hating life, and he's just right, dude, there's an art to it.
It's basically CrossFit. I mean, really, you're walking, sometimes running, depending on who your driver is and how big of a hard ass he is. Then you start running, and then you grab it, and you do a power clean is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't remember what a square bale weighs, probably 50 pounds.
Depends on if it's wet. You're putting it up wet. You don't want to put up wet hay.
Or if it's alfalfa. Alfalfa bales are tough. Those are like 80 pounds. But, yeah, you'd throw that square bale up there. And, I was always pretty good at it because our football coaches, although there was a lot of things that they were really bad at and not very good coaches, they really had us power cleaning a lot. So I loved power cleans. That was my lift back in high school, and I want to get back into it, but I'm still waiting on some other stuff to heal up. But I was really good at power cleans, and so I kicked ass at hauling hay because I had endurance and I could power clean all day long. So I'd be throwing them on that top stack. Like we'd get guys out there that were wrestlers or football players or something, and they just, I mean, some of them would do really well, but some of them just looked like clowns out there, man, because they'd try to twist their body and swing it like a golf club and throw it up 4 high, and they'd just hit the side of the trailer. You know, yeah, they were trash, and you know, it was fun though. I always enjoyed it.
I hindsight's 20/20 on that, man. Now that I know how to do it, but
yeah. Oh, dude, there was one time I went out with this kid, and he was a farm kid too. He was the son of a farmer, and you know, I don't think he'd ever hauled square bales, but he talked a big game, like, oh yeah, I do this all the time with my dad, and this, that, the other, and it was just me and him, and we were taking turns. One of us would drive, and then one of us would buck. And actually, what we'd do is we'd get the truck kind of going straight, just take your foot off the gas, leave it in like first gear, and just let it go. And then just slow roll. And if it's still getting away from you, you know, pump the brakes a little, you know, and we'd both kind of be throwing them on. But dude, he was, you know, he talked a big game, but you know, he's just trash, and he's just hitting the side of the trailer. He's gonna throw his back out is what he's gonna do. He's just twisting it and just not good, man. It's an art form.
You called it. Do they have rectangle ones? Or you call them square?
It's I guess it's more of a rectangular cube bales.
Yeah. So why do they call them square bales then?
I don't know. Asking the wrong guy. No, and then I have a little trailer story too, man. You know, they always talk about how like loading and unloading a trailer is probably one of the most dangerous things on a job site. And that was another thing that my first boss was really anal about, was like, hey, well, I'm unloading equipment. You don't stand next to the trailer. You don't stand anywhere near in case this thing rolls over, stuff like that. You know, he was real picky about that kind of stuff. And understandably so, because there's no reason to be standing right next to it while it's unloading. Like, you want to stand there because you want to feel like you're helping, but you know, he'd always be like, no, don't be anywhere near in case this thing rolls. Well, you know, one day we learned the lesson of, one, whoever's loading the trailer needs to make sure it's hooked up good, but also only one guy needs to hook it up. So it was like we were trying to get out of this job, and me and this other guy were hooking the trailer back up, and it was just a bumper pull trailer, but it should be a gooseneck. I mean, it's a big, long trailer, and it was pulling an excavator, and we both were standing there hooking up the trailer. Well, the ball was connected to the hitch, and we lowered it down. We put the chains. One of us put the chains on. One of us lowered it down, and you know, plugged the lights in and stuff. And well, we both thought, oh, he did the part of actually making sure that it was hooked onto the ball.
Yeah.
Our boss goes to load this thing up at this excavator, this Mini X, and he's pulled up on there, and all of a sudden you just see that trailer, wow, go way up in the air, and oh man, it was wild. Thankfully, nothing got damaged and nobody got hurt, but it was definitely one of those moments of like, oh shit, you know, this is why he's always harping this stuff.
Man, it's tough to not get in a hurry, man, and doing stuff like that. You got shit to do, and you can easily, unless if you just do that last second walk around and literally put your hands on every single thing that's important, you can miss, you know, if you do have it down, locking it down, putting the old safety pin through, making sure, even on trailers, you know, trailers have those safety chains, and some people say not to use them, but you know, should it fail or pop off of the ball, those safety chains are the last thing that's going to keep it from running away. And
I don't really understand why they say not to use them, because I did actually have a trailer come off one time. It was hooked up right. It just, the hitch broke. It was a cheap ass little Tractor Supply trailer or something, you know, something. It's not a very nice one. And I went over I was in a field, and it kind of peaked right there where, you know,
Yeah.
I don't remember. We went through a valley and then over a hill. So it was like extreme flexion and then extreme tension right after. And it just, the way it happened just right, it popped that off. And, you know, I wasn't on a road, but I was pulling out onto a road. But if I didn't have the chains on there, I think that thing would have just crashed right into the back of my truck going down that hill. I mean, it didn't hit the bed, thankfully, and dent it, but it nose dove because there's just a one axle trailer, and then it got kind of underneath my truck, but it saved it from going all the way underneath because those chains were holding it. So I got kind of lucky there. But
yeah, I think the argument is if you had the chains on and should you have a wreck or roll or something and it pops off, then it'll roll the vehicle with it, or there's some type of thought behind that.
I don't know. But yeah, dude, trailers are wild. We spent a lot of time talking about safety today, and I don't think that was our intention at all before we started this, but it's been a good talks, man. Fun. It's good to tell these stories because everybody has these stories that works in the industry, right? You know, they all have, like, big companies always want to say, well, you know, this should never happen, that should never happen. You know, we're super safe. Like, we try, but I mean, everybody has weird little deals that happen. It's good to talk about them because you can learn from other people's mistakes. And hopefully, us telling our stories, some dude might look at his boat going down the road and go, shit, man, I've only been running with that one strap. Or somebody might say, damn, dude, I've never even thought about how dangerous it is to load and unload equipment like that. I need to be sure and check that. Like, I mean, even yesterday, I went hunting, and then I load everything into the bed of my truck, my four-wheeler, my ice chest, and everything. And the bed's open because the four-wheeler is too big to close it. And so, I mean, everything's got to be in there just perfect. But, I mean, if that thing flew out going down I-35, the ice chest or the four-wheeler, like, could be fatal, you know?
Well, safety-wise, too, thinking about loading that four-wheeler in the back of your truck. How many times have you seen people, you know, where they miss the ramps or the ramps come out and, you know, get bucked off and the four-wheeler comes down on them?
Oh, dude, I hate. My ramps are kind of short, so I get a little goosey loading it sometimes.
Yeah, that's where you got to hopefully back up to a hill or something that's kind of elevated, make it easier.
Yeah, you pretty much have to, but it's in fact, I had a sketchy call yesterday because it had started raining and then kind of sleeting a little bit. And I was loading up, and my tires spun on those ramps a little, and my rear tires did just as I was pulling up to the top.
Yeah.
But I felt them slide a little, and I was like, oh, boy.
that old pucker factor, man.
I puckered, dude.
That's what kept you on it, man. That's what, if you weren't so good at puckering like that, you might have lost it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of those deals that if I would have gone backwards, it probably would have thrown those ramps completely off. I mean, because when you back down it, they do shift. But, yeah, I was puckering a little.
Yeah, which that comes with a lot of training. I mean, I know you train like picking up a roll of dimes or a roll of quarters, puckering on them. And if you didn't train, dude, you might have lost it.
Nasty. No, dude, but that's the stuff that's the stuff that gets people killed. Because I feel like whenever you're loading a big machine, you have that thought in your head of like, this is a big ass machine. Everything's got to go just right. But it's like the little stuff, like, you know, loading your four wheeler, loading your Mini X, like it's the little things that's whenever people get hurt or cause serious damage. It's rarely the big stuff.
Yeah.
Rarely the big stuff. Yeah, dude. But anyways, we can start wrapping this thing up.
Yeah, we survived Thanksgiving.
I was about to say, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
I did, man. Had a big house full because the day before Thanksgiving, our little man turned 10, so we had a bunch of Rugrats. We kind of did the birthday / Thanksgiving all in one.
Well, I saw that. I saw Melody posted that, and I was like, well, was this a birthday party or was this a Thanksgiving party?
Both. And he loves scary movies and stuff, so we still had our horror-themed scary movie birthday party.
Horror-themed? For a 10-year-old?
They're into some different shit nowadays.
Yeah, we just had strippers and blow. Nice horror-themed birthday party. No, that's cool, man. But you had to work part of it, didn't you?
No, but didn't have to work till 2 days later. Now, my side gigs, yeah, but not that.
Oh, I thought you worked like Friday.
Yeah, Friday. we had the birthday Thanksgiving deal on Wednesday, Thanksgiving on Thursday. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
And I wasn't working then.
Gotcha. Yeah, man.
But it's a lot of work. Food. We even said this year, hey, we're gonna make it nice. And so, shit, by the time you do all the presents and the setup and the cooking and this and cleanup, dude, it's fucking work.
Dude, it's work.
That's why kind of like the best friend to have is one who has a boat instead of you having your boat. The best parties to go to is somebody else's party because, dude, if you're the one hosting, shit.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean, man. I had a friend of mine, he posted a video of like, this guy's hilarious, but he posted a video of like him dancing. It was like me walking into the Thanksgiving, or me walking to the family Thanksgiving after not preparing a single thing. He's just like happy and dancing and stuff. And he's like, but yeah, he's funny. But I kind of told him, I kind of had to have a conversation like that with my mom because normally I make pies. I like baking, and I'll make a lot of that stuff. And usually I make the pies and maybe a side dish or something, but usually I'll make the pies and she'll make other stuff. And my dad made the turkey. And she's like, well, when are you going to come do this? And like, I was tied up last Tuesday, and then I was tied up Wednesday. I got off work at noon, so I was like, I'm going to go hunting. And then I was like, I don't know, I'll just cook them Thursday morning. She's like, Thursday morning? I'm going to be here and I'm going to be cooking this whole dinner by I was like, you know, Mom, there's 5 people here. We don't need to do some elaborate thing with every side and every dish. Just make the turkey, make some potatoes, make some bread, make some, a salad or something. Like, let's just call it good. We don't need a whole feast. We don't because then it's just work. You cook it and then you got to clean it up. And like, I'm not into all that, man. Just throw that turkey on a smoker and let's call it good.
Yeah. So we had bullfrog, big old bullfrog for Thanksgiving. So
damn. Oh, wrong button.
So there's that.
That's wild.
Look how big this fucking bullfrog.
Like a full frog?
Yeah, look at it. Look how big that is.
I've never seen anybody cook a frog like that.
Yeah, here.
Did you buy the frog or did you catch the frog?
I caught him. That's him on the grill.
You caught it?
That's probably the biggest one. He's probably
Dude, that thing's like the size of a chicken.
14.
Y'all need to look at this thing on YouTube, dude. This is a big frog.
It was badass, man. It was good. Turned out good. We decided to do something a little different.
So did you even make a turkey or did you just make the frog?
We did a turkey also. We bought like a pre-smoked turkey that you still cook it. You still do all that prep, but it was a deep red pre-smoked turkey already.
You're just kind of getting the skin crispy in the oven is all you're doing.
Pretty much, but you're still waiting until it goes up to temp. You know what I mean? You still have to cook it all the way up to 140 or 150, whatever it is.
Par smoked. Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's a lot of work, man. I mean, I've never been a big holidays guy, really. Like, I love Thanksgiving. I like the food. It's a good day to just hang out with my family, which I get to see them for a couple hours here, a couple hours there. But like, Thanksgiving, Christmas, nice because I do get to just spilled my coffee, hang out with my family, which is cool. But I'm just not a big holidays guy. Like the work, like it kind of just takes away from it, whenever you make it such a big deal. Especially for us, we don't have extended family, but
well, that's where it goes back to the best deal to do holidays and birthdays and stuff is somebody else's place.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we had a kind of a Thanksgiving party with this my Punk City leadership class that I'm in, and it was just funny. Like this girl was like, "Oh yeah, we could do it at my house and stuff," and then it kind of came time to do it, and she's like, "Well, I just moved in and we haven't finished remodeling yet." And I was like, we can do it at my house. And Victoria's like, we're not fucking doing it at our house. She's like, I know. She's like, we don't have room for all those people. We don't, she gets all stressed about entertaining. And then we ended up doing that at the girl's house and it was a good time. But I was like, man, everybody just chill out. It's not that big of a deal. Don't set your standards so high.
All right. Well, I've let it marinate long enough, but that was a fucking turkey that I showed you. Instead of spatchcocking a turkey, it's called bullfrog style turkey, and you take the turkey and you you cut it along the side of its rib cage. You cut it out there in its rib cage, and you break it open like this, and it looks like a fucking bullfrog. That was a turkey, dude, that I showed you.
Oh, well, I don't fucking know, man. I was like, that's a big ass frog.
And I was gonna let it. Fucker had wings and shit, man.
Hell, dude, I wasn't paying that close of attention. I thought it's his front legs.
Y'all need to check this shit out, dude.
People have already gone to YouTube, like the ones that are listening. They're like, "Oh shit, damn, man. Oh, this guy."
Kind of crispy a little bit, but
I mean
it turned out pretty good.
It looks like a bullfrog. I mean,
hence the bullfrog.
I was gonna say I've never
style.
seen anyone smoke a full bullfrog before.
Yeah,
Just, I mean, obviously legs, but no, man. Anyways, we gotta start wrapping this up. I got a deer I need to process.
Hey, let's wrap it up in 30 seconds. Do it.
30 minutes.
No, 30 seconds. Let's do it.
Cool. Well, hey, man. That's what I was saying to wrap up before I go process my deer, which I'm excited about.
24, 23, 22.
Okay, shut the fuck up. I can't focus whenever you're doing that. Hey, as I've said a few times on the Instagram stories, on the show, all that, you know, it is the end of the year, and it is the time of year whenever people start coasting. You know, it's Thanksgiving to Christmas, or Thanksgiving to New Year, the old, oh, damn, you know, just gonna take it easy. You know, we got so many holiday events, parties, and like, you know, even though it's maybe not in your head that you've already given up for the rest of the year, a lot of people give up for the rest of the year from here on because they let themselves take all these subtle little losses, or, you know, oh, we still got leftover pie, and we got, you know, oh, the gym can wait for tomorrow, or oh, I got a party tonight, I can't just look, man. A lot of people give up this time of year and they start coasting. And they don't want to work very hard. They lose their motivation. That old winter blues comes in, and that seasonal depression kicks in, and people start giving up. And then they start feeling bad because between Thanksgiving and Christmas, all of a sudden they've gotten all this, you know, candies and pies and stuff like that, and they're starting to slip on shit, and they're starting to put weight on, and they're starting to feel bad about themselves. Well, look, I just want to say that do what you can. All right. You may not be working outside as much too. Like, I mean, hell, I've been looking at the asphalt crew. Some of these guys starting to put a little weight on. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, a lot of them always say I bulk up in the winter so that way I'm good in the summer in the construction business. But a lot of people give up this time of year, whether it be on their fitness, whether it be work. So, man, if you're, you know, hungry and you want to get after it, and you want to make some serious gains and progress, now's a great time to do it, whether it be in your business or your fitness or whatever goals you're working on. If you're trying to gain on somebody and catch them, man, go hard till the end of the year. Don't wait till New Year's. Don't coast between now and New Year's. I mean, sure, enjoy the time, enjoy a few days here and there, but don't totally give up until New Year's. Like, keep after it, because if you give up now, then you may not get back in the groove when it comes time. And also, you still have over a month left of the year. So don't give up now till the end of the year. Don't say, oh, at New Year's I'm going to make change. Just do it now, man. That's what I have to say. So posted it on the Instagram story the other day. What does it take? Do something hard every single day. Consistency is key. So just do something hard. Do it every day. And there you go. That's the formula. It's that easy. If you want to get better at anything, whatever your goal is, just do that.
Yeah, get outside. You can still get outside even if you don't have any workout equipment. You can literally get a shovel, like I did. Try to dig out a turtle. Dig for a while, then fill that hole back in. Dig again. You're getting your reps in. I mean, just do something.
Yeah.
Get the old heart rate up.
Oh, dude, yesterday I was gonna run whenever I got back from my hunting trip, and I forlonged it till today because like we went on this. We're about to leave, and we're trying to sneak up on any deer because I really wanted my brother to get one. Dude, we hiked. We went on this long loop around the property we hunt, and it was all through tall ass grass. I mean, my heart rate was up. It was pumping. I mean, it was just being active, right? And like even before that, even though you're sitting in the stand a lot, I mean, like while we're out there, we're just doing physical hard work. And I mean, just do something, man. Stay active. A lot of people, they get laid off this time of year and they just kind of chill for a while, and that's cool. But still do something active. Still keep your body moving. But that's all I have to say, man. That's my wrap up. So do something hard. Do it every day.
By God.